everybody. My name is Jason Cunningham. I've been a member of the club for about 3 years, and just quickly I wanted to thank a couple people. One, my wife Alicia, who knew Randy Holmes and got me in touch with him and said, hey, there's a whole group of people that like the stuff you like, and I should have joined 15 years ago. What I'm going to talk about tonight is actually a story that I've heard my father talk about his whole life. I wanted him to do the presentation, but he wasn't quite up to it. But basically, this is about my grandfather, James Tully Cunningham. And he hated his middle name, Tully, so he always went by JT. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think that's going to do it. But, so just a little background. He was born April 26, 1920 in Jackson, Mississippi. He was the oldest son of James Tully and Jessie Cunningham. He had 3 siblings, Hazel, Robert, and Donald. And his father was a prohibition officer. When he was young, his father was transferred to Pensacola, Florida. And this is a picture that my dad always gives me a hard time about it, because the first time I ever saw this, let's see if this works. Right here on the right is my grandfather, the oldest, wearing the white T-shirt, looking like Elvis. And first time I saw that, I'm like, well, he looks like Elvis, and the rest of them look like they fell off the turnip truck. So my dad keeps remembering that, and he's like, great. But this is JT Sr., who was the prohibition officer, and his siblings, who I only met one of his siblings, which was the youngest, Robert. He joined the Army Air Corps, and he entered as an air cadet March 15th, 1941, and he was for a very short time in a base in Florida, and then was quickly moved to Army Air Corps Training Detachment in Jackson, Mississippi, back to where he was born. In that training school, he had to, and all the cadets that went to that school, they had to successfully complete 70 hours of flight time by themselves, or them flying the plane with someone else. The plane that they trained on was a single-engine PT-17. And after he made it through, and one of the things, a lot of this story, I'll get to why we know the details, but some of it, and a lot of it, is because every day he was gone, he wrote my grandmother a letter. So we have an accounting of every day during flight school, every day he was overseas. And we don't have a lot of her letters to him, but we have most of his. So he went to the China-Burma India Theater and was first assigned to the 22nd Ferrying Group, which was at a later date consolidated and put into the 77th and 78th Ferrying Squadron. The patches that I have here, the top one is from the 77th and 78th Ferrying Squadron. The bottom one is the 28th Ferrying Group. I've been looking for these. I don't actually have these patches. Apparently are really hard to find. If anybody can point me in the right direction, I'm looking to get some original of those patches. While he was there, he flew approximately 71 missions, and approximately is because that's what we've counted through his letters. From day to day of what he did, we figured that it was about 71 total missions. These are some pages from a book that has fascinated me my entire life. It's from his cadet days, 1941. It's the class 41H. And one of the things that stood out to me is this a book of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cadets. And every single one of them is wearing the same thing, right? They're wearing a flight jacket, scarf, the cap, the goggles, and for some reason, and they're in a backdrop, they look like the picture was taken indoors. For some reason, my grandfather's picture, he's outside, he doesn't have a scarf on, and he's got a black jacket. So I'm not really sure why that's the only picture that's like that, but it stands out. I don't know if he missed picture day. I don't know what happened.
Too studly.
Another picture that, growing up, I see this stuff and you hear stories and you make up your own stuff. I always thought he caught this shark, but this was just, as far as we can tell, he had leave. He was in Pensacola, and someone caught a shark on the beach, so he took a picture with it. So me being a kid, I just assumed he caught it. And it's a neat picture with, he's wearing swimming trunks, a flight jacket, and a scarf. So he's pretty fashionable. He met my grandmother, Katie Eugene Rao, at Appalachian State. He had originally gone to a school in Pennsylvania, and quickly at a wrestling match, he was a big wrestler his whole life, and a coach saw him at a meet and recruited him to Appalachian State, North Carolina, and that's where he met my grandmother. There's a lot of letters that lead up to this of all the details of their courtship and their wedding date getting moved and moved and moved because of all the things he was doing and her school time. And they eventually married in October 25th, 1941. And before he was shipped off to the China-Burma India theater, my grandmother got pregnant with his only son, who's my dad, which is James Marcus Cunningham. And that's, again, not sure where this picture was taken. I think it was taken when he was in cadet school in Pensacola, but that's my grandmother and Katie and JT. And the others, not all genes passed down, right? He could have been a movie star. I don't know what happened to us, but it's all the pictures. He's very photogenic. So I'm going to skip ahead. He had a lot of flights.